In this video today, we're going to be talking about the 5 signs that show that you do not need to have a credit card in 2026. If you don't know who I am, my name is Kenny Johnson. I operate a credit repair company here in Montreal, Quebec. If you need help with your credit, you have collection accounts that are giving you a hard time, you can always send us an email, info@kennyjohnsonuniversity.com. Now, the first sign that shows you are not ready for a credit card is that you do not have a budget in place. And this is the most overlooked aspect of finance in general. It doesn't matter who you speak with. You can speak with a credit repair specialist, you can speak with a trustee, you can speak with a banker. It doesn't matter. They're all going to tell you that at the foundation of all of this, you need to have a budget in place. And usually, when I'm doing consultations with clients, I recommend to them to do or to have a budget. And a lot of them just kind of overlook this and they're just trying to get to the whole aspect of the collections or what needs to be disputed. But I can't express to you how important having a budget is, because especially if you're having credit issues or you're having problems with your credit, if you don't have a budget in place, let's say you fix all those negative items off of your credit report or you resolve your account, what's to say you're not going to end up back in that situation? And so what a budget does is that it ensures that over a longer period of time, you're maintaining the status quo of having great credit. And that's why I'm able to constantly get access to high amounts of credit, high amounts of capital, is because every single week I am sitting down, I'm doing my budget, I'm adjusting my budget, I'm making updates to my budget, and it takes work. Having a budget is not easy, it's not simple, but with practice, it becomes easy. Over time, it becomes easy. For example, when I first got my budget, and I think the biggest thing I had issues with was sitting down and creating a food budget. I like to eat food. I like to feed my family. I like to feed friends. So I'm going to spend money on food, and I grossly underestimated how much money I was spending on food. I think I had put down like $300. And then at the end of the month, I actually spent around $500. And if you know anything about here in Canada, groceries are extremely expensive. Okay, so take the time to actually sit down and do a budget. This is going to catapult you in the right direction of being ready to have a credit card. Number two, you keep your credit cards maxed out. Now, this is primarily for people that already have credit cards and are probably thinking about getting another one. But if you are already struggling to get to keep your credit cards from being maxed out, it does not make any sense for you to go out and get another one. And a lot of people, you'd be surprised if you're not one of these people. A lot of people go out and do this because they think it's going to resolve their issue. They say, well, my credit cards are maxed out. I just need a little bit more money to figure things out, and then I'll be able to pay off these other 2 credit cards that I have that are maxed out. Let me go out and apply and get another credit card. But what you're doing is you're digging yourself into a deeper hole. That same person that has a maxed out credit card is also the same person that does not have a budget. What you're going to realize in this video is that everything feeds right back into number one, which is creating a budget. So the person that has the maxed out credit cards, don't take the time to apply for other products. You're putting yourself in a hole. You may not even get approved anyway, but if you do, you're not winning anything, because in the long run, you'll probably have a third maxed out or a fourth maxed out credit card, because you're going to be repeating a cycle because you're not changing your habits, which is number one of creating a budget. Number three, you don't have a consistent income. Now, this is a big one because a lot of people have, maybe you're an entrepreneur and you don't really have a good idea of how much money you make. Maybe you do really well one month, maybe another month you don't do great. Maybe you have a contracted position to where you're able to pick up hours or work and it's not consistent enough. If you don't have a consistent income, or you're not able to generate or get a good idea of how much money you make on a monthly basis, you getting a credit card is not ideal, because again, back to number one of having a budget. When you create a budget, one of the first things you have to ask yourself is, how much money do I make in a month? And ideally, you want to know that before the month is over, so that you can actually properly budget out for all of the items that you need to budget for. So if I say, let's just say, for example, you make $5,000 in a month, you can put, I make $5,000 in a month, and you know when you plan for your budget, you're not going to put $5,000 worth of expenses in that plan. Maybe you put $3,000 worth of expenses in that plan to give you an idea. And this is why, again, people that cannot create a budget or have consistent income should not be going out and applying for credit card, because again, you're going to end up in this vicious cycle of maxing out credit cards, being sent to collections, getting sued by creditors, ending up with judgments, and then you have to work with a company like us, a credit card company, to try to help you bounce back from that situation. Number four, you don't know your credit scores. Now, here in Canada, we have two credit scores, Equifax and TransUnion. If you live in another country, you'll want to look into that yourself. But in Canada, we have two credit scores, okay? Equifax and TransUnion. And you'll be surprised how many people don't know their two credit scores. Or when I introduce the fact that you have two credit scores and you need to go check, they're surprised that they're two different scores. And so you need to always have access to both. And the reason why is because if you plan on getting another credit card, you don't know, or you may not know, which bank that credit card provider is going to pull from. Because you can have a really good TransUnion score that's going to allow you to get approved, but your Equifax score could be terrible and it could lead to you being denied. And so the ideal situation is that both of your credit scores are above a 730, for example. Both of them are above a 730. You don't have any derogatory accounts. You don't have any maxed out credit cards. Your utilization is extremely low and you're avoiding late payments. Then you know you're ready. You're probably ready for a new credit card. But if you don't know what your credit score is, I highly recommend you use the free platforms. There's Borrowwell for Equifax, and then there's Credit Karma that's going to provide you with your TransUnion score. But it's important that you have access to both. And last but not least, number 5, you keep forgetting the due dates for your credit cards. Now, if you're forgetting the due dates for your credit cards, there's a lot of things that you can do to fix this. And I think a lot of people that forget the due dates for their credit cards, they know the solutions. They just choose not to actually take on the solutions to fix the problem. So it really just comes down to you being lazy, if that's the case. But I'm not here to judge. I'm here to help. So if you are not able to remember the payment dates, that's going to lead to late payments. And if you know anything about late payments or payment history affects your credit score up to 35%. This is the biggest aspect of credit. I've seen people acquire one late payment and their credit score drop 100 points. Now, that's not going to be the case for everybody, but we know it's possible due to history. So why do all of this work just for you to forget the date of when your credit card is due, and then you have a late payment, and now you're down 100 points on your credit score? All this work you've done is now erased, right? So some of the things that you can do is contact your bank, try to do or set up automatic payments. Me personally, I'm a little old school. I don't like automatic payments. I don't trust it. I've heard some horror stories with it, and I could be more open, but I just decide not to do it. I use a calendar. I have a calendar that reminds me. I check my calendar every single day. It's not a lot of work. It takes 2 seconds to wake up in the morning, look at your calendar, and see what needs to be done for the day. Or you just need to remind yourself what credit cards need to be paid for that day. But you need to have an idea or a schedule around when are the payment dates for your credit cards. We want to avoid late payments and we want to avoid interest. Why give the banks free money when you don't have to? Make sure you're making on time payments. Now, listen, if you fall into one of these 5 categories or one of these 5 spots, you should not be even thinking about getting a credit card. Really take all of this notes, all this down and note it and see or where you need to improve individually so that you can be confident when you go out and apply for a credit card. Now, if you need help with your credit, maybe you have collections. You're in a position, you're in one of these 5 positions and you're trying to figure things out. We're here to help. Send us an email, info@kennyjohnsonuniversity.com, and me and my team will be happy to help you. Until next time, peace.